Well, thanks for joining us on Business Live. First up, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has increased its policy rate, the rate at which it lends to commercial banks, by 100 basis points, that is 1%, to 14.5%, citing inflation, risks to inflation, exchange rate, as well as fiscal and debt sustainability challenges. It's the first time since 2015 that the MPC has increased its key lending rate. Now, this is expected to trigger an increase in cost of borrowing, but may help stem the recent pressures on the cedi and the price of goods and services. And we'll have more on that later. In the news tonight also, economist and dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, Professor John Gache, is warning that government's plan to slap some taxes on electronic transactions could have a negative effect on remittance flow. According to him, even though such transactions, especially mobile money, has grown over the past years, any revenue mobilization agenda targeted at the sector without thorough cost-benefit analysis could erode the gains made so far. He spoke at the 11th Continuing Professional Development and Induction Ceremony of the Association of Certified Chartered Economists, organized here in Accra.
It depends on how the users of electronic platforms are classified. If they are classified as having inelastic consumption or use of these apps, then their withdrawal will be very limited, and government will end up getting the expected revenue that it wants to get. And I believe that's the reason why government has imposed this particular levy, because we have become so used to this transaction. Therefore, we are not going to stop using the transaction. What will happen in reality is that people will respond within a short period of time, and they'll become used to it and continue to use the system. But there is some pressure going to be on those who are very sensitive to remittances, to these tasks. They may limit how much they send to their loved ones. They can stagger it. So those developments will come on. But the full effect will come to bear when the task becomes operational. But it is something that we are tasking the members who have been inducted to date, that there is now available data. The population and housing census data have been released. It has something to do with remittances, both internal remittances and external remittances. And we need to start simulating to see what effect that it will have for the purposes of taxation.
Well, so the minority in Parliament have given indication they will oppose the e-levy. Let's bring in tax partner and business school leader at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Abeku Jankwansa. Grateful you could join us tonight. We're going to be talking about the 2022 Budget Digest the PwC would be having. But first, I want to pick your thoughts on the e-levy. Could there have been a better tax measure than the e-levy proposed by government?
All right, Darrell, thank you so much, and good evening to those watching us and listening to us. Could there have been a better tax policy than the e-levy? One would say yes, the other would say no. There are a number of questions that we need to answer as we talk about the e-levy. The first thing is that if we are seeking to broaden the tax nets, then the question is, would this measure really broaden the tax nets? The typical answer you may hear is yes. The question that would follow up, Darrell, is this the best way to design it? Obviously, there are certain gaps which we all need to work with government to correct. So in brief, Darrell, will this levy lead to an expansion in the tax net we've been calling for? Yes. But is this the best way to have done it? Probably no.
And how about previous tax measures introduced by government? We've heard people ask, and also about the move to ensure compliance. Appears they have not worked?
Well, Darrell, some would have worked, some obviously wouldn't have worked. So, for example, a number of years ago, government introduced the flat rates. And of course, I'm sure you followed the budgets and you've heard a proposal to reverse it. At least not to let every wholesaler enjoy it and to limit certain retailers from enjoying it. So the reason why government probably is going back is that government has realized that the policy is not giving the intended yield, hence the need to correct it. So in the same vein, I believe government has proposed this e-levy. It is about you and I helping government to obviously shape it. Our view, obviously, is that it would lead to an expansion in the tax net we've been calling for. But of course, a lot of work ought to be done to get it to the level you and I would obviously want it to get to.
So, in general, what's the PwC's assessment of the budget? Would it take us where we want to be in terms of economic recovery?
Well, our assessment of the budget now is that they contain very bold measures, Darrell. I mean, the ability of the idea of even proposing this 1.75, it's a bold initiative. It is bold. If you have followed, what the budget seeks to do is that the projected revenues for 2022, Darrell, is going to be about 45% of what we seek to do in 2021. That is obviously bold, Darrell. To almost half what you're collecting to increase and say that's going to be a revenue for 2022 is obviously bold. As far as we are concerned, we think a lot of the measures would help in the fiscal consolidation agenda, but a couple of tweaking would have to be done. And the challenges that we've always had, Darrell, is about government making certain proposals and not carrying it through or implementing it properly. I believe that we all need to work closely with government this time around and ensure that those policies that have been made, those brilliant ideas that have been proposed, are obviously implemented. But we think that a lot of the policies that were proposed are quite bold.
So tomorrow, the PwC would have the 2022 budget digest. Tell us a bit more about it and what you're seeking to highlight.
All right, so Darrell, at this stage, what the minister has basically done is to give those you and I voted for an indication of how he intends to generate revenue in 2022 and how he expects to spend in 2022. Our parliamentarians are obviously not experts in budgeting and implementation. So what this forum is trying to do tomorrow is to afford and create a platform for PwC to share its views, for our clients' contacts to share their views, and of course, for government also to engage and refine some of the policies that have been proposed. So the whole idea of tomorrow is to create an opportunity for government to really look at some of the proposals that have been made, to break it down for the general public to appreciate, and to get the general public to engage a lot more in the budgeting and the implementation process.
So the finance minister is expected to participate. Who else are you expecting?
We are expecting the CEO of the Ghana Bankers Association, and the reason is simple. The Ghana Association of Bankers, the reason is simple, Darrell. With the youth starts and all the programs that government is looking at, the banks are quite instrumental in doing that. We're also expecting Ajoba to also join, and Ajoba is the CEO for the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce. Once again, the whole idea is to afford general businesses an opportunity to comment. You also have the tax leader for PwC Ghana. Obviously, the budget was read. The minister spent quite some number of hours in reading the budget. But what you could obviously find out is that a number of people are rather talking about the tax policy measures relatively to the detriment of so many other aspects that have not been commented a lot about. So she would also be on the platform. And of course, the finance minister would also be. And then lastly, we would have the chief operating officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center also attending. The question one would want to answer is, why do you have such a rep? We have such a rep because at the end of the day, remember, this budget is the president's budget. So it was quite important for us to get someone relatively directly or indirectly from the office of the president to also represent, get to hear the feedback from the business community and give the president himself feedback on the budget that has been presented. So those are the persons that will be at the events for tomorrow.
That sounds exciting. And so this is happening from 9 to 11 a.m. It's going to be streamed live. So anyone
yes,
can participate.
Yes, and the interesting thing about this, Darrell, is that it's going to be streaming live on Facebook. So you can actually ask your questions directly to the minister and to the other panelists and get matters clarified. The other interesting thing is that, look, suggestions are obviously welcome. If you think the e-levy is not properly designed as proposed in the budget, you could obviously raise the point for the minister to reconsider some of the things that will be done in 2022.
We will be following closely. Thanks very much indeed, Abeku Jankwansa there. He is lead tax partner at PwC and also the business school leader. Thanks very much for your time tonight. Let's move on to other news for you. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says his government's vision is to make Ghana a technology and innovation hub in West Africa. He points out that the country is working towards developing a tech and innovation park and has been talking to partners across the globe in this regard. Speaking at the Maiden Global Digital Innovation Week, an initiative by his office, the Vice President charged all professionals and tech players to work together and build a vibrant digital economy.
It is through an open, inclusive, and participatory process where the voices of all can be heard in crafting Ghana's digital future and unleash the true potential that innovation holds. As I outlined in my lecture at Ashesi University a few weeks ago, government is committed to transforming Ghana through digitalization. A vibrant modern Ghana can only be built if strong institutions and systems are in place. Without these, this nation will be stuck in a vicious cycle of rhetoric and underdevelopment. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that the COVID-19 pandemic presented many challenges. Empirical evidence indicates that it slowed down economic growth and stalled development of many economies, including Ghana. But it also taught us many lessons. One major lesson is that to rebuild our post-pandemic economy, there is an urgent need of investing in innovative technology to leapfrog the obstacles to inclusive development. There is perhaps no more important development revolution facing us now than the fast approaching digitization and leveraging of technology to develop our country. The opportunities to leverage technology for accelerated and inclusive development had never been so tangible. This is the time to take a critical look at our innovations and the digital transformation journey and feed our reflections and ambitions into a shared vision. Ladies and gentlemen, let me emphasize that to achieve this inclusive and accelerated development, all stakeholders must work together in order to grow Ghana and African countries' innovation and ecosystems. Tapping into the experience, expertise, and networks of all countries, particularly our Pan-African brothers and sisters, will not only offer us a wealth of lessons and insights, but will also help us build effective, collaborative innovation ecosystems. Indeed, this Ghana Digital Innovation Week is the outcome of the trilateral cooperation between Ghana, Germany, and Israel.
The Vice President there. Now, the Energy Ministry has expressed commitment to stabilizing power tariffs in the country. It has hinted of plans to engage the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission on the establishment of an ideal tariff structure. Sector Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh spoke at the 5th Ghana Energy Awards ceremony organized in Accra.
There's a pilot going on in Kumasi where we have smart street lighting, where we can monitor the street lights, and it's solar as well, from Accra to see which one is going off and which one is coming. Hopefully, we will have smart street lights ongoing, and every street light will be changed. The era when people change street lights to face their compound in their various homes, I hope will be a thing of the past. As the Ministry of Energy, We will continue to collaborate with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that this critical sector employs more innovative solutions to drive the President's industrialization agenda in the most effective way. Two things that are coming up. We in the energy sector are collaborating with PURC for tariff rationalization. Everybody, when he hears the name of PURC, thinks it should be tariff increases, tariff increases, tariff increases. But an unexamined life is not worth living. And we hope PURC will take and re-look and re-examine their tariff structure to provide a better regulatory service to the energy sector in the country. Also, I know some are here, the independent power producers. I do know for a fact that charges for goods and services in Ghana is contrary to the Foreign Exchange Transaction Act of Bank of Ghana 2006. So we'll be coming back at you to look at your tariffs and your energy charges to reflect in cedis, because that's the only currency we have, and we adore, and we have to protect.
The 5th Ghana Energy Awards honored former Presidents John Agyekum Kufuor and the late Jerry John Rawlings with Lifetime Achievement Awards. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of VRA, Emmanuel Nchidakwa, who emerged the Male Energy Personality of the Year, revealed to Joy Business that his outfit is working towards a long-term financial sustainability of the sector following challenges bedeviling it.
The outlook is not going to be any different. Over the last 4 years, we've stabilized power, to use your own word. We've stabilized the supply of power. I think it will continue to be so. There may be the challenges with the value chain. Maybe Gridco may have a difficulty, we may have a difficulty sometime. Maybe Ghana Gas may have a difficulty, but those will be small matters compared to what people usually call doomsday. So I think that we've got to a point where we've got the electricity supply delivery in check. It's good, we'll continue to maintain it. Financial challenges will be there. It's something that we are going to continue to live with. That's why we are working with the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Finance to deal with the financial issues. The real key thing to the success of the sector, and I speak for the sector in this case, is the long-term financial sustainability of the sector. That's what we are all looking forward to. And that's what we are working with government to try and resolve.
And you're watching Business Live. Still to come, we'll take you to the Volta Trade and Investment Fair, where young entrepreneurs have been urged to take risks and surmount failures. That story coming up after this break. Young entrepreneurs in the Volta region have been advised to brace themselves for a series of failures as they attempt to to pitch their ideas and transform them into businesses. Now, determination, willingness to take risks, finance management commitment, investing in technology and research were key guidelines listed by the panelists at the Young Entrepreneurs Breakfast meeting. The meeting, hosted at the Sky Plus Hotel and Resort, was on the sleeves of the 5th Volta Trade and Investment Fair.
The maiden edition of the Young Entrepreneurs Breakfast meeting was under the theme Promoting Sustainable Trade and Investments, the Youth in Focus. The discussions were weaved around agribusiness, access to credit, and value addition.
We want to open up our region to investment, foreign direct and even local investment. But we know that the youth are at the center of this. And in order, as an association of Ghana industries, to secure the future of industry, we have to make sure that this is done with the youth in principal focus. That is the purpose of this morning's meeting.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, used himself as a case study and advised the youth to take risks and venture into the private sector.
Because I was a Director of Health, I had a bit of bungalow, and I was going to resign and leave all of that life. And people did not understand me. But here, we are not old enough to see the beginning. Clinic is a staff of 8, and now we have a workforce with more than. That's the beginning. So you start small. Let us take risks. You know, our part of the world, mentality.
The Dean of Volta Region MDC is Etonam Fululu, urged the entrepreneurs to plan and take each task at a time.
To my youth entrepreneurs here, before politics, I am still an entrepreneur. I still run my businesses. We have failed so many times. We have succeeded so many times. Don't be scared about failing. Failure just creates an opportunity for you to learn and do better and grow. I said it yesterday that this government creating opportunity for us as a youth to grow is something remarkable.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Sanyo Hosi, eulogized the prospect of agriculture in the future.
We are going to have to drink water. And every other part of the world is going to be controlled by technology. These are three constants in the future. Agric is the place that is to be. It's difficult today, but that is a constant in our future. So let us just invest right and take your time, and that's all I've just been saying.
The Chief Executive Officer of Kawamoka Kafi, Emibet Kwantsen, advised the young entrepreneurs to identify problems in their immediate environs and pitch their business ideas around them. The Chief Executive Officer of Mafix Trust Farms, Felix Kamasa, implored the participants to leverage on technology to enhance their operations to improve productivity. Reverend Mauli Benson, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Geofort, a fertilizer-producing company, urged the young entrepreneurs to invest in research and development.
A lot of us, when we start businesses, we lose sight or we forget that there is something we call R&D. Right from the onset, you need to try as much as, no matter how small.
Well, that story ending Business Live tonight, but there's more news as always on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You can read all the day's latest story from there, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching, everyone.